Well, no sense worrying about it now.
Why worry? Each of us is wearing an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on his back.
Yeah. Now let's get ready. Switch me on.
Well, that's great. Either I have a monster in my kitchen or I'm completely crazy.
I don't think you're crazy.
That makes me feel so much better. Are you the keymaster?
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
If the ionization rate is constant for all ectoplasmic entities, we could really bust some heads. In a spiritual sense, of course.
What's going on, Ghostheads? Why did the numbers go backwards? That freaked me out.
Well, because I don't know what I'm doing. That's it.
It totally threw me off. I was like, why is it going up now? It's another episode of the Ghostheads radio show. My name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me as always, my partner in crime, the one, the only, Matty B. That guy.
It's Miller time, boys. Let's get after it.
It's Miller time. We got another banger of an episode for you folks. If you're in the chat, say what's up. What part of the country or what part of the world are you in? Let us know what you're up to. It is the holiday season. The holidays are upon us. It's a great time. We're having a lot of fun. We're glad you're with us. We got a fantastic show. We got a couple of special guests. We're going to bring them on right now. From the Ghostbusters of New Mexico. Y'all make some noise for Greg.
How you doing, everybody?
What's up? Let's switch Maddie and you here real quick. How's it going, man?
Good, Ted. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And also, we got another special guest from the Report All Ghosts social media channel. It is one and only Jamie. What's going on, sir?
What's happening, gang?
We got some folks in the chat. Legacy Nerd saying, yo. Joe saying, hey, hey, hey. Derpy, no. I will say what's down. Do what you will, sir. Do what you will.
Can I give a quick shout out to On Target Creations real quick? And Bryce New, longtime fan of the program, sent us these custom bracelets with the caution tape and the Ghostbusters SATX logo in the middle. He does those custom for you guys. I have Ted's here, hoping to get that to him soon, but we don't really hang out IRL. So we'll find some time for that. But On Target Creations, hit up Bryce and show him some love because these are sick and they fit really well.
Rick's in the chat as well saying, I'm sorry, I've been busy. It's all good, sir. You don't need to apologize. He got another jersey. That makes 2001 jerseys for Rick Kane. And Joe says, I'll take it to him, Maddie. Hey, there you go. Listen, we got a fantastic show for you guys. Thank you for our guests for being here. We've been doing this for a few months now. We've been meeting and highlighting Ghostbuster chapters across the country, talking about how they got started, what they're doing. We've met some fantastic groups. I'm sure that Greg's is no different. So, Greg, we're going to go ahead and start with you tonight, my man. We want to hear more about the chapter in New Mexico. Let us know how you got started, and let us know what you guys are up to. Floor is yours.
So actually, I got my start with the Colorado Ghostbusters up in when I was up living in Denver. That's who helped me get into it. Helped me. A few of the members, Zach and Smurf, helped me build my first pack. I'd always, it's something I'm sure everyone can relate to. Something you've always wanted, and they helped me get the get up and go to build it. I was with them for about 2 years before I ended up moving back to New Mexico with my wife. Had a job opportunity down here that I couldn't pass up.
There you go.
So ended up coming down here. There's a group up in Albuquerque. I believe they're called the Zia Ghostbusters, and I'm living down south in southern New Mexico, in Roswell. So where all the aliens are. So I decided to form the Ghostbusters of New Mexico, a different chapter. I've got a few friends up in Albuquerque that are also interested, so we're going to be covering pretty much the greater New Mexico area.
That's fantastic. And by the way, the aliens, they're all over the place. It's not just New Mexico now. They're like
That is very true.
everywhere. Okay, I've been
That's true.
following
That
these
is,
things. Something is happening. I don't know
it
if you
is
guys are worried.
confirmed.
I'm a little worried. We'll talk about that another time. But no, appreciate that. Glad you're. So you said you kind of started this. How long has this group sort of been around?
Oh man, so what? Today's Thursday? So I don't know, maybe about 4 weeks.
Oh, really? That new?
Yeah.
Okay.
I designed the logo, and
Which is a sick logo.
thank you.
It's
thank
so
you very much.
good.
It's so good.
Thank you. So I designed that, and been talking with some buddies. One of the guys is he was the best man at my wedding, and another one I've known for 10 years. They're both huge Ghostbusters. Oh yeah, there's the logo right there that I designed.
Golly.
It's so good.
It's
It's unbelievably good. I showed him because Portland and Hershey, Pennsylvania, right now are my top two patches. But this one it's right for either one of those positions. I think that this might be the best one. Honestly, it's really really good.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm working with a fantastic maker named Crystal Monroe. She is currently producing my patches. We're doing a pre-order right now on the Patch and Pin page on Facebook, and I think we need about 8 more patches, and they'll get produced, and then start shipping out to those people who pre-ordered them, and yeah.
You have some fans in the chat. Bryce is in here saying great logo. Justin Wright has also joined the chat. What is up, Justin? Good to see you. And Derpy says, nope, cancel it. Shows harm to ghost eating peppers in the afterlife. Absolutely. You can't have none of that.
And special shout out to Bryce again. Bryce, you always hop on after I give you your commercial. So maybe hop in on time, and you'll be able to see the beautiful commercial that I deliver for you for these bracelets there. So that's Bryce. So hit him up if you're in the chat. Go ahead and send him a message and say, hey, send me one of those. You'll have to pay for yours though.
There you go. Paxton, see you in the chat as well. Thank you for joining. Now, appreciate that, Greg. Glad that you're here to speak with us. I'm glad that there's another chapter we can put on the map. And as always, man, as soon as things you start hit the ground running, you got events, you got whatever, we want to promote it. We're gonna talk by the end of the show about a few charity things that we're trying to get into motion. So we'll be sure to bring that back up. But glad you're here, my friend. Jamie, you're next. You're next. Report All Ghosts. Tell us a little bit about what it is. What is Report All Ghosts? Tell us.
You said I'm next.
Oh yeah.
I thought this was the line for the bathroom.
Oh.
I'm in the wrong spot. Well, what do you guys? What do you want to know?
I want to know.
I
want to know because I came across you recently, actually, and as being in this creative space inside of the Ghostbusters world, I've started to notice a lot more channels or pages. I liked the way that you were going about your page, and that you were willing to showcase a little bit more character. And not to disparage Jason at Ghostbusters News. We all love him. We all need him, and he is where he is. But he has to be a particular way in order to sort of carry that mantle. And I kind of like just the way you were going about doing it. So I was like, I like this guy. Cool. So I started following you, and
which I appreciate.
yeah, and it looks like you're it's sort of new into it, right? How long you been going?
Well, you see, that's an interesting question. I'm glad you brought up the style, because I do feel like everyone kind of has their own brand. Jason has his brand. You guys have your brand. Yes, Have Some has their brand. My brand is definitely one in of its own. Jamie Hodges is a brand. That being said, there's a lot of times where I kind of push the envelope and sometimes inappropriate ways. But I've found completely accidentally, much like the original films, the kids love me. which I don't want to say, I hate to say, because it's really flattering almost that, because social media, especially with kids, is very visual these days. And so I've been able to connect with an audience. There are people like you who are going to get the informative bit. And then there's the kids who like to watch unboxing videos or reviews and just want to watch me make stupid faces, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So I like to offer just like a little bit of something for everybody. And while you're absolutely correct, Report All Ghosts is very new. I almost want to say I've barely been up and running for 2 months now. I have been doing this. Do you have something to share with the class, Maddie?
No, I got a note from Legacy of Nerd. But it's an inside joke about a mistake.
About hard R. Tell me about it.
Well, we don't talk about. No, there's no hard R in the live stream. There's no hard R in the live stream.
Fair enough. Yeah. After hours, we'll talk about the hard R.
It was very innocent. I'm going to send you a video, and it'll wrap everything up for you really nicely.
Perfect. I'm a visual learner. But while Report All Ghost is very new, like I said, I think we've maybe been up just for a couple of months. I've been doing this particular thing for the local franchise, which I've been a member of for, maybe 15, 16 years now. Ghostbusters Virginia. I was PR over there, and I was doing a lot of review videos, a lot of extra original content for the page, and much like Greg and so many countless incredible franchises out there, they are a federally registered 501c3 nonprofit charity organization. They are officially partnered. I'm going to go off on a tangent for a minute because it deserves mentioning. Ghostbusters Virginia is officially partnered with the Make-A-Wish Foundation and is actually in the top 5 contributors for the entire state. And we're pushing for that #1 spot. But that being said, a lot of the work that I was doing corresponded with promotion and pushing products and new information for Sony and Ghost Corps. So in the most respectful way possible, our goals sort of diverged. And so I said, well, maybe then there should be a venue in which to do that. And thus Report All Ghosts was born. And if you don't know, Report All Ghosts, much like you all's name, having a sort of reference to a call out from someone in the past, Report All Ghosts is one of my favorite ways that Dan Aykroyd signs off a lot of his autographs. It'll be Dan Aykroyd, Ray, Report All Ghosts, ! So really, I just wanted to keep making really cool content. I say consistently, it's no contest. We are a community. And so I just want to do whatever it is that I can to contribute to that community in a positive way.
Amen. You're here.
Yeah. And that's cool. Yeah. And so I know because I grew up in Virginia as well. And I know I mentioned that I grew up in Blacksburg, Virginia. So where are you located in Virginia? What city? And what's your chapter there?
I am in Richmond, Virginia, personally. I have been, primarily most of my life. I moved out a while to California and was actually rolling around with the Southern California Ghostbusters for a while. But primarily Richmond, Virginia, and it's simply Ghostbusters Virginia. We've been operating as the premier Spectre detectors in Virginia for over 20 years now, and are the only recognized franchise by Ghost Corps in the state.
Awesome. And you just had that interview with Eric. How was that? I mean, that's always nice
I did
to.
not. That was not me. What are you talking about?
Really?
I saw what you
What are you talking
saw.
about?
That was Yes Have
That was
Some.
Yes Have Some.
I thought you said that. I thought that was you.
I mentioned earlier that I had a conversation with Eric because we're
Oh,
friends,
so
and we do that. Sometimes friends will talk to each other.
I tied those things together. I apologize.
No, that's actually another like really cool thing to touch on is like I've been corresponding lightly with Ghost Corps for over 7 years now because completely apart from any Ghostbusters franchise or even Report All Ghosts, it being, brand new, I am an independent filmmaker in Virginia, and we had our own studio, White Tiger Films. So I decided, you know what, I bet we could do press, and I registered for press with the Sony PR department, and since then I've been talking about Ghostbusters. So
Hell yeah,
That's so cool.
that's awesome.
Awesome, amazing.
Cool.
Maddie B, I know
Yeah.
you had an agenda for today, but we have some questions. Do you mind if I throw them out there?
Yeah, let's go for the questions.
Derpy 501st actually had a question for the panel today, and the first one is a little bit of a snowball, but I'll turn it to Greg to answer first. Did you enjoy Afterlife? Or the better question might be, how much did you enjoy Afterlife?
I did enjoy Afterlife, and it was made even more enjoyable when it was released. I was up in Colorado with the Colorado Ghostbusters. We were invited by the Alamo Draft House for the opening weekend. We were able to do the whole regalia. We had 2 ectos in front of the theater. All of us
Awesome.
were there taking photos, and then we got to go in and watch a brand new Ghostbusters movie on the big screen in our flight suits with our packs in the seat next to us.
Living the dream.
My wife, we had just had our first kid. He was about 2.5 months old, and she made him a fleece onesie Slimer Slimer costume from the real Ghostbusters with the big orange eyes and the teeth surrounding his little head. And he didn't obviously stay for the movie, but he was there for the promotional part of it, and I think that that definitely added to my experience of Afterlife. But truth be told, I was off today, and I no shame in saying I watched all 3 movies today during the course of the day, completely unrelated to tonight. Those are the movies that I chose to put on. Yeah, long answer is I did enjoy it.
Okay, that gives me an idea now. So I was crazy enough to do the Star Wars marathon that led up to the release of Episode 7.
Oh yeah.
So I don't recommend it because I think we got to the theater like 4:30 in the morning just so we could fit 6 Star Wars movies back to back before we watched Episode 7. I'm hoping next winter when this 4th film drops that they do something similar. Let's
That
do
would be awesome.
GB1, GB2, and Afterlife. I'm not throwing shade at 2016, but chronologically it doesn't fit. It's not in the timeline. So it would be
Yeah.
really nice if a theater out there, Draft House, looking at you, to do GB1, 2, 3 in order leading up to the release of GB4. I would love
Well,
that.
Ghostbusters 2 doesn't get enough love anyway. Like, I hate to
I
say it. I've
love the
seen,
shit out of it.
well, no, but I
Yeah.
mean, like on the big screen, I've seen
Yeah.
re-releases of the first movie, God knows how many times, but I don't think I've ever seen Ghostbusters 2 on the big screen.
And
I might.
speaking of Afterlife, it's one of those things where they say it's a part of it, and there's a couple of things in there that were from GB2. So I guess timeline wise, it's still canon. But
Hmm.
there is nothing about the script of Afterlife or anything that transpired that leads me to believe that GB2 was a heavy thought for them while writing it.
It's The toasters in the movie. The toasters
I was
in
going
the
to say
movie.
it was
We're
more.
good. We're
It was
good.
more for the
The
prop
toasters-
department than it was the script.
It wasn't exactly. It was only just pieces here, so that he doesn't have to retcon anything. But there was nothing that tied into GB2 whatsoever. Not one mention of Oscar, even though we saw Peter and Dana. There is no mention of that crisis going on whatsoever, even down to the YouTube clips that was being shown. There was nothing from GB2. It was all about 84. And I don't know, maybe Jason, and I love Jason, so if you're listening, don't hate me. But is this an awkward moment for you in your early teen years of being in this movie, and you don't want to
That's
maybe
because the Ghostbusters are full of crap.
yeah. So is it something that you're intentionally sort of leaving out? I think that
He's
we
saving
need
it
those.
for the GB4. That's what.
Well, I was gonna say, like in my reporting, because I have to admit there is potentially a very clickbaity video in the future of Report All Ghosts. Everything we know so far about Ghostbusters 4.
Yeah.
But that being
Right,
said,
yeah.
like it's not like he hasn't talked about it at all, and it sounds like there are some things specifically he wants to explore in Ghostbusters 2, particularly the fact that while she was disassociated from her father, obviously Callie was alive during the events of Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
And apparently he wants to dive into the difference between the Ecto 1 and 1A a little bit. So we'll see.
That would be
I'm down.
incredible.
I'm all
Just
down for
give
that.
me a little something.
I'm all down
Um,
for that.
it seemed a little. I liked the movie Afterlife. I did. I liked it a lot. But to me, it was just an appetizer. I don't just leave after an appetizer. I want to know what the main course is, and I think that the next movie is what I'm looking to be my main course. Afterlife, fine. I'll take my fried mozzarella sticks. I'll take the nachos and salsa. That's fine. I expect that, but give me the main course here in this next movie. That's all.
You're hoping that Firehouse is like the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, exactly. I want them to dive into stuff. I want it to get complicated, which is our next topic,
Ooh.
and that leads us into
What a
Ernie.
lead-in.
Hang on. We got to hear from Jamie.
Okay.
What do you want to hear?
Same thing. Derpy 501st wants to know, how much did you
Oh.
enjoy Afterlife?
I thought you were about to make a song request. Was belated with Afterlife, and of course, being an older Ghosthead, it's something that a lot of us have pondered in our years or our heads for a long, long time. And there are some expectations that I think will never be met. And of course, through Sony leaks and just some of the information that's come out over the years, we know that there were iterations of Ghostbusters 3 that definitely were like everything we pictured that it would be. But it's almost like I think this was the Ghostbusters that we needed, if that makes sense.
Sure.
It's what's that Batman line?
It's not the Ghostbusters movie that we needed, but it's a Ghostbusters movie we deserved.
We deserved, yes. I mean, that's how I feel about it. And a lot of the times, even when talking about 2016, I like to say in the most positive way possible that 2016 is like the Batman and Robin of the Ghostbusters franchise, whereas just 10 or so years down the line, Christopher Nolan comes along and does this art piece banger, and that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, because how many times do you go back and watch Batman and Robin or Batman Forever today and somehow appreciate it more because of what it was trying to be?
I loved Batman and Robin. I given my age during the Schumacher films, I
mean, that was hot.
I love those movies, but I'm totally on board with you with what you're saying in regards to that. But did Afterlife give you what you were looking for real? I mean, like,
oh no, absolutely. Well, there's some things. Again, it's just impossible because, and unfortunately, at this point in time, we've lost Harold Ramis. And I think that's what everyone would have really, really liked. What they did was absolutely respectful and brings a tear. And y'all, not one of you can lie, because you cry every single. It's coming, and you still cry, and that's okay.
But I'll just watch video clips of just that scene. It's like 2 minutes long. and I'm getting emotional. I'm like, it's just a 2-minute clip. I haven't even watched the rest of it. It's
Well,
just so powerful.
I was looking back yesterday because yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of the red carpet world premiere of Ghostbusters Afterlife, which luckily myself and several members of our franchise were lucky enough to be present at. And I each screening was a little bit different because I was part of the red carpet, and we not only had the intro from Jason, obviously, but Ivan was there, and watching that now is almost more emotional than watching Egon in Afterlife. But I think one of the most important things is like just how personal this movie was. It wasn't just the next thing to sell a Happy Meal. You don't have any like big rapper's name attached to this movie. This was a very personal story. Now, I will say, post that fact, I think things are about to blow right wide open because there's a very important thing from a filmmaking standpoint as to why you cast your actors so young, and it's so that you can watch them grow over several films, because now we're going to get like the Star Wars, the Harry Potter. I'm not just talking about Ghostbusters 4, I'm talking about 5 and 6. This isn't the trilogy anymore, this is the Ghostbusters saga.
Love it.
I'm here for it.
Love it. You guys have all talked about it. Much like Jamie's already mentioned, it's not the ideal movie. It wasn't going to be the best Ghostbusters movie ever, but it was the absolute best movie you could make at that time. Like, you weren't going to kind of hit all those check boxes. You really had to create a foundation about where we are in this Ghostbusters universe. We don't know where we're at. We need everybody to get on the same page. And they simultaneously showed us this new world that we are in, and they also paid the most beautiful of tributes to Harold Ramis. And yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife is quite an achievement. It's quite an accomplishment. There are many ways that movie could have gone wrong. Many different aspects of it you could have done something and it just totally ruined the rest of the film, because you're really walking on a tightrope of things you can do when you start, incorporating an actor who's passed into your movie. We just watched Wakanda Forever, and nowhere in there are they attempting to put in a CG Chadwick Boseman for many reasons. The fact that you did that with, Harold Ramis and putting in a likeness of him in your movie, very bold. You have to do it the right way, because if you do it the wrong way, it could come off as not genuine or tacky in many ways. But it didn't. It did not in any shape, way whatsoever. Afterlife is quite an achievement, and much like we've already talked about, I can't wait to see where this franchise goes from here. The sky is the limit. Ghostbuster fans, be ready. We're going to be eating really well really soon.
I agree. And again, we could just keep going on this topic here, um, and just kind of go through some of what Ernie Hudson had said here in a recent interview. And this is something that I really want to kind of talk about with some other ghost heads, because I agree with him here. So he says there's a reason why we ghost bust, which is an interesting way to put it. Most people say bust ghosts, but he says there's a reason why we ghost bust. We go and trap the ghost, and that's kind of fun. But why are the ghosts wreaking havoc? I'd like to see Winston explore. We're going to keep doing this, but there's something bigger going on that's affecting our world. I'd like to see it tied into what's going on in the world. I have my sort of ideas and theories. It kind of depends on how we look at ghosts, but they're fun and cute. We trap them and we throw them in a containment unit. But what's really going on? And so that's an interesting question. What's really going on? And even Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2, we had a big bad. We kind of knew what was going on, but we never really got complicated with it like another popular franchise like a Star Wars, or the lore isn't that deeply built. And so I think that's what Ernie is talking about here, is sort of adding to the lore. What did you guys think about that?
Let's start with Greg.
I think that, I mean, if we could take the franchise into that direction, not so sci-fi comedy, but more, I don't want to say full. I mean, how awesome would it be to actually see like a real Ghostbusters horror movie? That's just where it's a legitimate threat, and it's, it definitely veers away from the original. Or I shouldn't say the original. Actually, it's closer to the original idea that Aykroyd had. It veers away from what we got in the final production and what everyone now knows as Ghostbusters. But if we could go towards that kind of darker, serious aspect of, well, yeah, like he said, why is all of this happening? Where is this coming from? It's not Gozer. There's something there, and it would be great to explore that.
Absolutely. Jamie, your thoughts, senor? Oh, lost your audio. There you go.
Oh, ew, my bad.
That's all good.
Yeah, I've thought for a while now, like you could definitely dive a little bit deeper, and I think that that's something that like it's sad that it's gone now, but the IDW comics handled that like really, really well, because even in regards to Gozer, like some of the dialogue there is to insinuate that this isn't a demon, this isn't a ghost in of itself, this is an interdimensional creature, and really there's a lot. And of course there's a lot because Dan Aykroyd wrote the first draft, but even going back to some of those original concepts, the only reason why Gozer's like going after the Ghostbusters is because they had already, it's fun to mention this actually, because it almost kind of lingers into Ghostbusters Afterlife, but initially Gozer is going after the Ghostbusters because they had already trapped Gozer's favorite pet, which was Zool, which is literally the setup for Afterlife. Like, we've got Zool trapped. Gozer's all fired up about it, trying to come back in order to get everything going again. So there is like a whole nother world to explore there. And even in regards to some of the thoughts that they had about Ghostbusters 3 beforehand was all very like interdimensional. And you don't have to go like too crazy with it, but you have to dive more into the science of things, like not in a super techno babbly way where you completely lose the audience, but you have to go back to that connection that these are scientists. The Ghostbusters, as much as we love to put them on a pedestal, like they're blue collar superheroes. You know what I mean? They're way below the, like, say, the Avengers. But that being said, they are still scientists, so maybe we need to go back to the roots and just like investigating and finding out why they, like Winston said, we want to know why the ghosts are here.
I like where Ernie's head's at. He's trying to add another layer to everything that could lead to sort of like a major event in the Ghostbusters franchise, if you will. It sounds like though that's a question that's going to be answered way further down the road. Like, we
Yeah.
don't need that answered in the next movie. We need maybe several different steps before we actually get to the why are so many people coming back from the dead type of thing. So I like where his head's at. Chris Robinson explains it. There's an element in GB2 about New Yorkers being assholes and that creating the slime and the environment for Vigo to return. So the correct answer is, Ernie, that New Yorkers are all assholes and that they're just bringing all the ghosts back from the spirit world. I'm just kidding. That's not what happens. But no, I like where Ernie's head's at. He's actually adding this whole nother layer, more of like a philosophical question, if you will. There might be a philosophical answer to it. Really deep if you want to really try and figure that out. But I like it. And it also is curious. I had extensive conversations with Ernie, not to humble brag. But anyways, he never really raised any thoughts like this during our many Q&A panels that we conducted like 2 years ago now. So I'm wondering if he's actually hinting at certain elements that might be incorporated in future projects. I don't know, Matt. What do you think? You were there.
Yeah, I totally agree. But again, I think it's just as simple as Ernie realizes that if this is going to be a story that you can continue and that you have to add to the lore at some point. Like you brought up, you don't want to give us everything at once. Well, sure. Like in A New Hope with Star Wars, I didn't expect him and Darth Vader to have their final duel, but all along the way of those movies, they were building onto lore. There was um, a reason for the way things were, and they were setting that up. And I think the Ghostbusters would do itself a great service as one of our most beloved franchises, even from people who aren't the biggest fans like we are, or would never watch a show like this. They would buy a Ghostbusters shirt. They'll watch Ghostbusters when it comes on Halloween. People love this franchise, and adding to the lore and giving a little bit more of an in-depth view as to how this world works is something that I think that is what he's really talking about. And I get that sense from him, even in those Q&A panels. I think he wants it to be more of a serious project.
I'm down. Justin Wright says maybe they could follow the original GB3 idea, Ghostbusters in Hell. Yeah, I
They,
believe the original working title was Ghostbusters Hell Bent, which is so
yeah,
metal.
which
Oh
would
my god.
Hellbent is metal as hell, and it would have been sick. But they dealt with a lot of the Ghostbusters 3 script in the 2009 video game, I believe. There was a like half of that game at least was what Ghostbusters 3 was supposed to be, where they're sort of warping in between dimensions and that sort of thing.
Mara's in here in the chat saying the theory of the afterlife is so vast. Look at what the real GB did, and look at the new game as well. Incorporated Tobin's into it. Tobin's right there. There is so much. James going to. There is so much to play with, and even crossplay with other franchises. Very fun and exciting. Yes, I mean, if you could imagine, like, what are the toy crossovers they've done? Transformers, Ninja Turtles. Like, I'm not saying you should do Transformers, but even like Ninja Turtles, as wacky as it sounds, like, I'm down for that.
Well, they
Donatello.
had the comic books, and they were
There you
great.
go. They did the comics.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Well,
I don't need Peyton and Eli Manning. Okay, that's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? At some point, we do have to draw a line of who we're collaborating with. I'm
you
not
don't
trying
need
to have.
John Cena running his own Ghostbusters
Yeah,
franchise.
I don't need like the Hulk Hogan version of Ghostbuster in the WWE game. You know.
Derby threw out this question in the chat. He said he did understand the timeline calendar scene at the Temple of Afterlife. Can someone explain? Is it for the future films? Ooh, that's a great question because I don't recall seeing future years. But I want to say every year that was at the top of the temple um, called out a specific event. Now, is it related to Gozer coming back each time? The easy answer is no, because what would have been there to stop Gozer from coming back each of those years? Like, or is it like a Jeepers Creeper kind of thing? Like Gozer can only come back for a certain amount of time, and then she's got to go back. I think Jamie has all the answers. What do you think, Jamie?
I do not have all the answers, but in regard, we kind of circle back a little bit in regards to
Sure.
like making the Ghostbusters universe deeper. That doesn't necessarily mean I don't think that it has to be explored like within that film universe.
Right.
And in regards to that calendar adding up to future stuff, I really don't think so. I really do think it was just pertaining to Gozer and potential attempted, because otherwise, like 1989 would have been on there, because whether or not we're going to talk about it, Ghostbusters 2 would have been like a major psychoactive event that registers on that calendar, but maybe not the 4 Ghostbusters that we know, but who's to say that there haven't been other 4 people throughout the history who have had to be the ones to step up, like these unlikely heroes, or maybe they were chosen, like, all right, it's y'all's turn. Maybe the very first one is 4 people who were set to be sacrificed into the pit of Gozer, and they said, you know what? No, let's not do that this time. Let's send it back through the gate. That's
like
a whole
that.
story right there.
Deep
Oh
thought.
man.
You could go all the way through like Ghostbusters in Roman garbs,
Right.
You could go to like the steampunk.
Well, and that's one thing that I think would be really fun that Sony hasn't done yet, and I like to relate it a lot to like DC. Everyone's got their own opinions about DC and Warner Brothers, but one thing that seems to be consistent is their animated stuff direct to video is usually pretty consistently awesome. Now, if you were to do something like that with Ghostbusters, not only are you like cutting production costs or redirecting them in a completely different way, but you can do these non-canonical stories that literally just explores the world at large. And not only that, do an anthology where you've got I don't know 6 different animators and 6 to 12 different writers, each one doing a different episode. That's a different Ghostbusters story within the universe that doesn't have to do with Gozer.
Like, so it's like Tales of the Jedi, but Tales of the Buster.
Right, or the what is it, the Animatrix?
Okay, yeah, I get you completely.
Justin calls it the Displaced Aggression series.
Displaced
Yeah.
Aggression. Another good band name.
No, that was a really, really good comic one-off. Yeah. Have you guys read that one? Yeah.
That one I have
no?
not. No.
I have not.
Yeah, the Ghostbusters get accidentally scattered through different periods of time and have to like find themselves. Venkman, but all of them are Ghostbusters. Like Venkman's like in the Wild Wild West busting ghosts. It's pretty
There you
sick.
go.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
check that out. Mara says the Shandor theory or delving into Evo Shandor lore would be fun, which I kind of thought Afterlife was going to do. I don't know if some of this stuff was cut, but I felt like it was intentional that the town was a little bit more crazy, a little bit more. It felt like the entire town they were in was sort of built by Evo. Like he had hand in the architecture and the buildings that were surrounding that area. So I kind of felt like we were gonna meet some Shandor cult members because Evo had like 1,000 or so or 20,000, something like that, cult members by the time that he died. And
Yeah.
so like those people just didn't go nowhere. They just said like, all right, we're gonna stop now. Like they must have carried on. So I don't
But it
know.
seems like from that quote that those were people in New York City, because he said that they would perform rituals to bring about the end of the world at the top of that building there. But his mining company definitely funded that town, that's for sure. And a lot of
Absolutely.
those early leaks of what the movie was going to be was that when we saw them sort of coming out of the cafe and all the ghosts and everything, but those were going to be the cult members of the town were not going to be liking this new family that moved in. But we didn't get that edge of it. I thought that the town would be kind of cult like going into the film.
Allegedly there was a B plot. There was a whole hour of this movie that was cut off, but there is a B plot where the sheriff is supposed to be a Gozer worshiper.
There you go. There
That
you
was
go.
It's why he's so
Yeah.
keen on like keeping the kids locked up. Like
Yeah.
has no concern about these like unlicensed nuclear accelerators on his desk. It seems a little familiar, is all I'm saying.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Who you gonna call?
It was gonna be like Blade when oh crap, forgot his name. But the guy that plays Daryl on The Walking Dead, he pulls his lip down and there's like a tattoo. It's gonna be like the Evo Shandor symbol, like on the inner part of the lip.
But also, Mara, the 2009 video game also deals a lot with. I don't know if you played it, but it deals a lot with Evo Shandor and sort of his ongoings.
So hot right now, Evo Shandor.
Yeah.
Are we all in agreement that Spirits Unleashed is somewhat canon to Afterlife? I mean, I feel like it takes
I think
place.
they're being careful.
Are you? I
think they are being careful. There's some things that are 100% going to transfer. We already know, where Ernie's going to be in that universe. I think it makes too much sense for Ray to kind of basically be like the occult reference. But I don't think we're going to see Kat or Eddie like mauling around the firehouse or anything like that. I think it's still very much so going to be a Spengler family story.
No, I can see that, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of a time jump. Like you don't want to spend too much time building this next installment, but if we saw these
I think they're gonna
characters,
have to.
it would be interesting. I mean, the opening sequence is literally like parts of the end of Afterlife just reshot
No, that's
and
perfect.
redone.
Actually,
It's like
I love
insane.
the time lapse thing.
Yeah,
I'd love
Greg,
to
you,
see that on film.
Greg, have you played Spirits Unleashed yet?
I haven't yet. My
Spoilers, sorry,
PlayStation's
man.
actually still packed up from the move because we just moved down. I'm chomping at the bit though to download it and get playing on it.
It's great.
There you go. Let's see. We had some more comments in here. Chris says, I'm weary of trying to create a Ghostbusters cinematic universe. Those typically fail in a self fulfilling prophecy kind of way. Everybody trying to not just make a good movie, but launch a franchise. And open ended endings aren't great. Expand, sure. But goes on to say, but tell the story of this film and have some closure. I kind of see that, but you definitely want to expand, right? That's the goal. Expand this universe of the Ghostbusters, multiple installments. We talked on different episodes that we've done, different streams, have chapters, sister locations around the world. I'm all for a London chapter. I've already talked about my top two candidates: Simon Pegg, Nick Frost. Those guys need to be in flight suits. Those guys need to be running around London, which is haunted as any other place in the world. Busting ghosts. I'm all for that.
I talked
What
to
do you
Nick
get?
Frost recently. He's a big Ghostbusters fan, by the way.
There you go. Let's make it
Nice.
happen. Everybody, tonight, hashtag Peg Frost Ghostbusters. Hashtag, let's get that trending. Go for it. Maddie, what else you got, man?
So I mean, it's pretty sad, and it's the inspiration for our show, our name, our title, where everything comes from. Is and we should give a moment of silence here. This is not a joke to Kymberly Herrin, who played the Ghostbusters Seductive Dream Ghost. She passed away at the age of 65, and she did things to Ray in a scene that I think that we all remember. And this is an interesting thing here from Dan, and this just shows how crazy Dan's mind is. I don't miss anything that we didn't use. The ghost in the fort, the seduction ghost. In paranormal research, that's a common thing. Ghosts doing sexual things to people. I have a friend who had 3 women visit him in a haunted house in Louisiana, and it was one of the greatest nights of his life. But in under 2 hours, you obviously can't have everything. And I don't know if that 2 hours meant the interaction with his buddy and the ghosts, or if that 2 hours is meant for the '84 film. But this was a big time scene. This is a scene because I watched Ghostbusters the first time. Shit, I might have been 6 years old, and so I didn't get this scene whatsoever. To me, I had no clue what this scene meant. It's one of those things when you go back and watch it again later. This is a crazy scene, and the original film, I think they were in a like an old Civil War type place. They were doing a bust there, and we didn't get that in the actual film, so it kind of looked like to us that he was just in the firehouse. Maybe I think that's how they kind of tried to present it, that he was just sort of sleeping the same way. But what do you guys think about that scene and the passing of Kimberly?
I think it's important to mention that she did other things.
Oh yeah.
Before
Maybe
we
so.
get too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She, apparently, this was even like on the front page of Yahoo News. She is pretty influential in that regard. I feel like to make that kind of headline.
Yeah. Well, what is that? I didn't look up her IMDb. Do you know?
Well, I know she was really big in Romancing the Stone, which is another older number, and then also she's apparently an international supermodel.
Oh wow.
I'm not adverse on the world of supermodeldom, but I think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
One would assume.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I don't think it's any secret. I don't know if you guys did you guys ever watch the Joe Rogan Experience with Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he talks extensively about sexual experiences with ghosts. So needless to say, he is an advocate. This was important that this be included in the film.
For sure,
You know-
yeah, and his discussion on the crystal skulls was really interesting on that episode as well.
The whole thing, he's just wild. That's why you have to muzzle the man, because if not, like by the end of it, you're who knows where you're gonna land.
Yeah.
Greg,
What do you think,
were
Greg?
gonna say something earlier? Yeah.
No, just I remember seeing it, you know, as a young lad, and I remember distinctly, like, I knew it was a ghost. I knew that was Ray laying there, but I remember thinking as a little kid, I'm like, why is he dressed so weird? Like, it didn't like register in my mind at the time what was actually happening on screen. I remember, you know, as a coming of age story, watching it again when I was a bit older and being like, huh, I'm getting this reference now.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies like that from the 80s, early 90s. I remember not understanding that scene because I was born in 84, so I don't know the exact time I first watched Ghostbusters, but like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the whole like patty cake scene, like I had no clue what the hell was going on the first time I watched that movie. Years later, I'm like, they put this in a movie? Like it seems pretty crazy that you would do that. Like who's who's writing this stuff? I guess it was Zemeckis, right? That did that one. I'm not really sure, but our thoughts with the family of Kimberly, and she will always remain in the Ghostbusters lore, and she's part of the entire franchise. So, our thoughts with her and her family and all of her fans. So, I mean, we're all that scene like doesn't actually happen, right? Because it is definitely a dream. I know it's just weird that they put it in there, but it is Ray dreaming that this is happening, not necessarily a thing, right?
Well, it depends on the cut, because in the original cut, it did happen. Ray had an experience.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
I always interpreted it as a succubus, and because the
Literally.
very next cut, literally, the very next cut was all of the guys laying in their bunks, tossing, turning.
Yeah.
Venkman's leg was kicking like a dog when you're scratching his belly. Like I was under the impression that she was a very busy spirit that night in
That
the
would have been
firehouse.
interesting.
Wild. Absolutely wild.
It does fit into the montage. It fits into the montage.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I always thought he was just dreaming. He was just sleeping in the firehouse and whatever, you know. A great scene. And R.I.P. Rip.
R.I.P. Let me catch up on the chat a little bit here. Travis says the video game was terrific. Chris says the new game better be canon. I want to wear a bow tie with my suit. We all do. We all do. Justin says they're using the Afterlife Ecto goggles in the game. Also, the beginning cinematic of the game is the end of the movie. Yeah, definitely. Just kind of reshot and put into sort of a different, little different angle there. Mara says the game is quite fun. The mods are intense. Ooh, interesting. Justin says that's the game I've been streaming. Shameless plug. Go check out Justin's stream. I'm sure it's really good.
Oh yeah,
Matt, you play Justin.
Yeah, and check him out. He's on Twitch. Oklahoma City Ghostbusters. They're awesome. It might be OKC Ghostbusters. Try both. One of them will work. But they're awesome, and the game is so fun to stream because of quick matches. There's a lot of action the whole time, so check them out.
Justin also says David Tennant will be a good addition to the UK division. I'm totally down for that franchise. Frost, Peg, David Tennant. I sort of see Tennant as being the Egon of the group. I think we can all agree there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Absolutely.
Would you guys give Hemsworth a second chance if he was a Buster?
No.
Because don't forget,
man.
don't forget, before we got Afterlife, there was a movie being written by the Russo brothers that was to be helmed by Hemsworth and Chris Pratt.
I remember that.
Yeah,
You
I
know
do
what?
too.
Was it Hemsworth and Pratt, or was Tatum was trying to do one of his own, wasn't he?
Well, Tatum was kicking around a little too, but that's also because Sony was trying to get that Men in Black 21 Jump Street crossover off the ground. They were just throwing darts at that point.
That's Sony. That is Sony. Oh man. Let's see. I don't imagine this was what she was going to be remembered for. No, I agree there. Paxton says it was an uncut scene, and they cut it down. Yes, it was a scene turned into a dream. They included in the novelization of the movie. He pretty much tells Winston to go away. As a kid, I thought he passed out from seeing her, and that she made contact, so he couldn't handle it. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
no manner of speaking.
Yeah.
In the comics, I think he goes back and maybe has a relationship with her. Ooh, interesting.
They
That is
do kind of
interesting.
give him an affinity for that because, again, has everyone read the IDW comics? I don't want to start like dropping spoilers.
Yeah.
Are you going to read the comics? Does it matter?
Yeah, jump the
Anyway,
spoilers.
Drop it.
we lose a very important member of the ghost busting team, not the main team, but part of the new comic team at some point in time, who Ray does also form a relationship with. And it's actually like, I read the comic and was like tearing up. I was like, oh man, I can't believe y'all just like dropped a bomb like this. And then interestingly enough, almost a callback to Dan Aykroyd's advocacy of such a thing, he continues to have a relationship. The ghost just hangs around the firehouse and dates Ray and lives at home with them, and it's an interesting dynamic. It's like if Ray could have the kind of friendship with Slimer he wants to have, but that would be weird. So thank God he has her.
It's
'Cause-
always the quiet ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Around.
Twitch TV /OKC Ghostbuster is where you can find Justin's streams. And as soon as I put in a few more hours and get as good as Justin, I will start streaming Spirits Unleashed as well. But tough game. Trying to get the mechanics down and all that good stuff. But yeah, definitely. Matty B, what's left on our agenda, senor?
I think that's it. What we did want to do is throw Greg into a corner.
Yeah, we are.
And yeah, we're definitely going to throw Greg in a corner
It's
on
about that
behalf
time.
of the Ghostbusters of New Mexico. Are you going to answer the call? We have a nationwide toy drive. Our initial goal said, hey, we're going to get 20 chapters and we're going to donate 100,000 toys. I think are we at 30, Ted?
We are currently at 30.
We're
Yeah.
at 30 chapters. And so leading up into what week does it start? The next week?
Well, we'll start actually the last week
The week
of
after
November.
Thanksgiving. So the week after Thanksgiving is going to run for 3 weeks, and just set up with your team somewhere. Find a organization in your community that you would love to donate to, or a cause that means something to you guys, and get as many toys as you can and donate them. And what we're trying to do is have all of these chapters on the same mission on that day, during those weeks, and get as many toys as we can to just show how the Ghostbusters community can congeal around their communities, how we can help to solve problems, and that we're more than just some guys who like to dress up in expensive costumes.
Which is what we've been called before. Yeah.
Oh,
So would you join us on that mission, Greg?
Will you
Yeah,
answer the call?
I will. I'm going to do as best I can. My franchise is still getting its sea legs, and I am still learning about the town I just moved into. So if anybody is streaming, anybody's watching this who's in the Roswell, New Mexico area that knows of charities that are looking for this that we can pair up with, reach out to the Ghostbusters of New Mexico on Facebook. Send us a message on Facebook or Instagram, both names, and we'll see if we can get together with some local charities and do the best we can.
Greg has answered the call. Greg, we'll be sure to send you more details.
Yeah, please do.
I'll send you everything that we've gotten so far. But this has been something that we attempted last year. We did a shorter toy drive, and it was a quick turnaround because they kind of dropped the headline on us like real fast. So this year we wanted to spend more time really planning it, really spending some time to do it, and we had a great turnout last year. So it wasn't for lack of trying or anything. We had a great turnout, a lot of donations. We put a lot of happy faces on a bunch of families. And so we thought to ourselves, why not put more time, more effort, more planning into this instead of just kind of doing it on a whim. And so, yeah, 30 chapters strong right now. And this is hopefully gonna show what happens when you take all these incredible people in all these chapters and just push towards one goal. And I think it's going to be really special, and more to come very soon. Shout out to the NYC team, who they're also in collaboration with this project. And yeah, there's gonna be a lot more details coming out very soon, and we're all very excited. So, Greg, thanks for answering the call, sir. Appreciate that very much.
Awesome. Well, look at that, Ted. Another show. How successful it was. We made new friends. Isn't this what it's all about?
It is what it's all about. It's fantastic.
All right.
Jamie, want to make sure that people know where to find you. Let them know what you're doing. Let them know what you got coming up with Report All Ghosts.
What I got coming up, who knows? That's the exciting thing about it, is because like on a day to day I do kind of deal with news, and so something new and exciting could pop up at any time. But it's not just limited to that. It's all about contributing and creating original content. We are here to discover the past and report the future. So
Jesus Christ, dude. All right.
if you see something, say something, and remember to report all ghosts.
Oh, that was eloquent.
Absolutely. I want to also let folks know at home, if you want to catch the San Antonio team in action, you can actually join and participate in the Alamo Heights Parade, which is happening this weekend. I apologize for not having the exact time.
It's the 19th, right?
Yeah, it's happening on Saturday. And let me see if I can quickly get
I'm going to
time
be in
here.
Anaheim. I'm going to be at Disneyland.
All
So you're
right.
busy.
Yeah.
Maddie's busy, but we're gonna have a great time. So if you're in the San Antonio area, come out to a great event, the 44th annual Alamo Heights Parade. Just find a nice, comfortable spot on the parade route. It's this Saturday. It starts at 3:30 p.m. and we're gonna have majority of our team out there, probably a few ectos as well. If it's anything like last year, I think we probably had a 15 maybe 15 team members out there, and we had 3 vehicles.
Yeah,
Is that
but
right?
you have you been working out? It's a workout. It's have you been hitting the stair stepper, Ted?
Oh hell no,
Do you even
not at
wear
all.
proton packs, bro?
It's gonna be nothing like you might be thinking
The King
of the
Williams.
other one, the
No,
King William.
no,
That
you
was
weren't
a
at the Alamo
sprint.
Heights. I'm talking about two
I was
different
at
ones.
the Alamo
So
Heights.
because King Williams was a sprint.
That was a sprint.
Alamo Heights is a marathon, big dog. It's slower paced. There's different disciplines. Sometimes you're going uphill, sometimes you're going downhill. You might have to ride a unicycle. You never know what's going to happen at the Alamo Heights Parade, dude.
Justin says, chug a Miller Lite and you're good to go. I'm totally down with that. That's actually one of the cooler parts about this parade is at the end of the parade, they have like a little shindig area with
Mhm.
free food and sometimes, I'm not going to make any promises, free alcohol as well. So I'm not the organizer. Don't shoot the messenger. But we had some really cool stuff to do once the parade was over. Hopefully, it's a lot of the same thing. But it should be a great time. Come out, bring the family, and if anything, you might get a free Twinkie thrown at your face by one of us. So yeah, that's always a great time.
I'll gladly take a spongy glizzy to the face.
That's a big change.
Not gonna touch that one. That's another hard R episode for us, Maddie.
Yeah. No hard. We actually, me and Legacy talked about this, and just real quick,
Oh,
we thought that on the Countdown City Geekcast we could do just reviews of you doing just R-rated movies, but the segment is called the Hard R with Steady. So we're gonna workshop that and see what we can come up with.
we'll
But
see.
yeah, go ahead and close out the show, Ted.
We'll figure that. We'll figure that out. Another fantastic show. Check out Report All Ghosts across social media. Subscribe to them. Check out his videos. Give him some love, and also be sure to visit the Ghostbusters of New Mexico page. Give them a like. Send them some comments. Show them some love as well. Greg has also answered the call. More details to come out regarding our nationwide Ghostbusters toy drive. It's going to be pretty exciting, and we'll let you know, depending on where you live and what chapters are closest to you, how you can also participate in the toy drive, because you guys are going to make it possible by donating to all of these chapters across the country. Appreciate you guys joining us. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys made it an awesome night. Appreciate the comments. Appreciate the thoughts, the banter, and the jokes. Always a great time. For the Ghostheads Radio Show, my name is Ted, aka Steady. Joining me as always is one and only Matty B.
We're crushing cans today, boys.
Thank you to our special guests for tonight. First, we got Jamie from Report All Ghosts. And we also got Greg from the Ghostbusters of New Mexico. Be sure to visit their pages, send them some likes, show them some love.
Later, dudes.
Night, everybody. See you next week.